So hi, today the main topic is actually the DAG based on the logging. So because what I know as the common the common logging system was the event based. So it was for in my experience it's actually event based. So I was like, okay, why there's no such a thing as the logging system that visualize or that represent user flow? And and I thought using rough data structure would be nice. If you look at this image, what if this single node is the event and this is actually user flows and user behavior? And that was my theory. And I look at the research paper, something else using graph to check it. It say the development and use of the acyclic graph. And basically, even in this, not in the software engineering part, even in the thematic, in they use DAG to check the hypothesis that of relationship. Example, to get the reason of COVID-19 could be not washing hands frequently, or not using mask, not wearing mask could be the correlations of the reason of COVID infection. And those kind of hypotheses is actually kind of really hard to guess. So they use DAG made on the graph to check their hypothesis is correct. So I thought, why don't we use this into our logging system? And I because I already have only like 9 months of experience of working, because I'm a student. I'm also contract software engineer, and I didn't went to the military, so whatever. So I asked a lot of like the people who work in the industry, like almost more than 4 or 5 years, and they say there's already such a thing for it. It's not really a new thing. They say they use the tree data structure of it, but my question is, why? What if you just go backward and to check to go to the the previous page and do whatever stuff on that? And because in the tree data structure, you cannot go backward unless you use the doubly linked list, the data structure on the node, but that is gonna be difficult of it. So what? But my question was that when they said when user go backward, it stops the logging and it sends the previous logging and it record the new the logging system based on the user backward of it, and they use kind of DB join whatever stuff. And my question is, why do we make it so complex? If it's gonna read your flow, but if it is like big tech company, like great big tech company or big company, that makes sense. But if it's like very startup, why do we have to think about those kind of things, the DB query thing? Even startup, they have no money for the even serving a server for the database. Why do we have to be like that? So that was my theory, and they say there's already replacements of it. They use Datadog. It's actually looking at the user behavior, also monitoring, also backend and also frontend. But even setting a Datadog is kind of waste of time if there's no MVP of it. A lot of startup, they don't have users of it. So like really, I mean, really new startup, they don't have users of it. It's kind of early to use Datadog. So my theory is, why don't we adopt those kind of logging system? So kind of because I think this DAG represents the user flows, because it's actually about business. Because lean startup, basically you build stuff based on your hypothesis. You measure if your hypothesis is correct, and after you learn it. If you learn it based on the measure, the user flows is correct based on your hypothesis, and your retention is really high, you do nothing, you increase the feature of it, but if it's not, you do people thing. So that's basically the lean startup is. But that was my question. Why don't we just use this kind of DAG graph of it? It's not very difficult and it's kind of easy, but why don't we are not using this kind of thing? But I don't know. But it's kind of really making me wonder if this really wise choice or not. Making this is not kind of, it's not easy, but it's not also difficult. But you putting so much effort on this is kind of be over engineering. We can just make it into experiment because we are a startup, but I don't know. I don't know if this really wise thing or not. I don't wanna be like some kind of like software engineer that neglects of the business impact, but always making some kind of open source project, but their code is yeah, I don't want to be like that. So that's kind of really the problem I face. Making this as a library or some kind of simple back for the back office, it is kind of easy, but is this creates some kind of business impact of it? If it is, it's worth it. But if it's not creating business impact, but if it's like making me feel so good about those kind of, because of engineering is, it does, which means that it doesn't it will not make us to be better. So actually this is kind of what I'm wondering. I don't know, I'm just gonna really think about it. It is adopting this kind of DAG on our web flowing system is really wise or not, but I don't know. So if there's changes, so I'm just gonna take video like this. So this is a happiness. Bye bye.